that's upcoming. That's in that theme, so it'd be really cool. Can't show it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I interviewed the Block Runner guys about Ethermon when the first day of deployment, they were sitting here talking about it, right? And I'm like sneaky. I'm like going to buy a farm bed or whatever, like,
yeah, garden bed, yeah.
I was going like, I went right in there and got it on the first day. I just love the idea, and I hope that it does succeed because it does bring people to the land for longer periods of time, and makes it more interactive. And I think that there's definitely a huge value to trying to keep people on scene and on, and exploring the world as well. So you have like old factors, like, okay, yeah, you're here, you're playing the game, you're feeding your pet, whatever it may be, and then you're also visiting different different land parcels or different parts of the whole world because you need to go to one place or the other. So to me, I found like a huge value in what you're doing, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and just want to mention something that might be quite interesting. So we're looking at all the different ways which we can incentivize people to stay within the specific district. But even within that, we have a lot because different monster may have different favors. For example, we could do something like, for example, like in the basis is if you're in the central land, then it would actually be more happy. So it gets better mood. But we could do something like certain mon only like a certain culture. So if you take it to sceneries, maybe if the certain long dragon, if you take it to the dragon city, then it will, be more happy rather than taking it to like, some other district. So we could definitely build stuff like that so that we can really think about combining gaming with, so you have additional purpose to visit. So I think there's a lot of stuff that'll be very interesting, artwork, gaming, and like artists all coming into a single place.
That's actually a huge deal because you can highlight different parts of the world, and you obviously just explained it pretty good, but that's a huge deal. It's pretty awesome. Roy, do you have like any insight on how like the Asian community is taken to Ethermon? Like I know I see a lot of kind of conversation about it in WeChat. Do you have any other insights on that, or just as in general, how people are receiving it?
Because of the Chinese culture, I think the game industry is really huge in China. So you can see the Tencent game I think is the #1, the biggest company around the world. Yeah. So even the Japanese game are very popular. So we know that one game named Pokemon. I think Ethermon is something like that. Had the same idea with the Pokemon, and Pokemon is very popular in China, especially like the children and the young people like to play the Pokemon. So when the Chinese community knew a game built on blockchain and the Ethermon, they are very excited about that. So you can see, I think, just like in MetaZone have the golden bed. So Chinese, I think most of the Chinese bought all that. Yeah. And so I think this is the potential market for the blockchain game, and even for the virtual society built on the metaverse. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I had a couple messages I had to write there.
So why don't we talk more about what each building is and kind of take us through this scene and let's see, we saw the pot, which was really cool, but we've got you got the Dragon Club. Let's start with that. Are you guys thinking about kind of getting music in there and hosting events? Or?
I'm trying to invite our creator to the conversation, and I'm asking him. I think he can provide more information about what's the building and what is the background music. Do you want to share your screen on your visiting of the Dragon City Prague? You can share your screen and then, yeah.
Oh, so I'm
Yeah,
on my iPad, but we've got the clubs, you know, right there, and I think the people who, you know, are here were messing around in it before with the floor moving.
Oh,
It would be
okay.
really cool, you know. It sounds like it'll be a really cool thing, and if you guys, you know,
if you guys are selling like VIP access to the nightclub, I'm buying one now.
So you have a screen here. Is that a screen set up for video in the club?
In the cloud, I think it is a streaming video.
Roy?
Hey.
So you have this screen here set up in the club. Is that a screen like for video?
Hey, sorry again. Can you repeat again? My phone has.
Yeah, I see. It's all good. This screen here, we're in the club now. The screen in the club, is that set up for video?
Yeah.
So we're looking to have maybe performances inside here?
Sure. So we will have a virtual DJ and virtual model. Yeah, I think the most exciting the design will be come out in the future. Yeah.
Now,
so,
I know
very cool.
Yeah, I mean the because of the we all know that the avatar in Decentraland for now just like is not very smart, but we hope we can build something smarter and smarter, just like that's like you know in China many model a virtual model is very popular in China. They build with the software and they can sing and dance, they can interact with you. So this is our goal to design the virtual, I mean the Idon and in Dragon City. So, but I think there's still some the technology obstacle to overcome. But we are we are to try to build something like that. Yeah.
Now, you guys have probably, I'm sure you guys have a big club scene over there, as most places in the world. I could see maybe even having like a DJ, you know, broadcast from the screen right into the club, and you know, maybe you could bring like that feeling from, you know, your side of the world, because we had recently the So You Club, Ty and the guys from over there, the So You Club, they had built a club, and it was very like European feeling, and it was cool. You really got the feeling that you were in a club from over there, and it was very immersive. And I could see this being a very similar thing, except for it would be obviously your style, and I think that would be something really cool for us to all experience. You know. I think if we move on, is there upstairs here to this club?
I didn't log in the Decentraland.
Yeah, it is. It have a second floor on the ground, and
you got like you got a Dance Revolution. Okay.
Oh, how'd you get up there? I gotta check that out.
I don't know about Dance. It's out of order. Dance Revolution's out.
Frankie, I think you broke it.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's my job, is to break things in Decentraland.
Break things.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen just so we can all be on the same page.
yeah.
So.
Oh.
So yeah, we're here, and we have an arcade up here. Any ideas for like maybe even adding some sort of more gaming up here? Like
we want to have more interaction up here. Like people can play the machine, and like on the physical space, people go inside into somewhere and then creating something.
Is online gaming legal in China?
online gaming. I
Yeah,
think
online
it's
gaming.
legal.
Huh?
It is
Online
legal for
gaming,
online
yeah.
gaming. Yeah, it
I
is
think
illegal.
all
Well,
gaming is not, yeah, it's not legal.
well, right. If you get a subsidiary in Macau, I'm pretty sure it would be okay.
Yeah.
Because,
So yeah.
from Vegas City, they have a online license from Costa Rica, I believe, right? And
Yeah.
thought process is, you might be able to actually put real gamings in there, depending on, the logistics of that,
Yeah. I mean, in China, about the gaming industry, and actually, it's the government just like they set the Macau as the gaming place,
Okay.
so you can game in there, and also they have set up the second the place is the Hainan Island. Have you heard about Hainan Island?
No.
You
No.
probably heard of Sanya, right?
Oh,
Like
It's
on
a
the
big
south.
island. Yeah, it's south. Yeah, it's south of China, and it's big. Because also it is a province of China. So the government is planning to set up something like the gaming industry there. So you can see Macau now is I think it's the largest the largest city for gaming. I think it's over.
It's revenue. It's more than Vegas. Like I know a
It's
few
more
years
than
ago it was like
Vegas.
many times more than Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the fact behind that? Because Chinese like gambling, like gamble. So that's why in China there's many online gaming, but they're all illegal. But yeah. So, but we want to try something illegal, but we will figure out some ways how to just like to offer some, maybe, this is for fun. It's not gaming, because we don't game on the cash. You don't game on the RMB. The Chinese yuan. But because of now in crypto space is still very controversial in China, whether look at like Bitcoin and Ether as the currency. So maybe you can use the Ether to play. Maybe it is gray. I think it's gray area. Maybe, but we don't know. We will do more the investigation about that. So yeah, I think it's fun when people come into the Dragon Club to play some game. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room for figuring something out. That would basically make people want to stay and hang out, whether it's gambling or not. It doesn't necessarily have to be gambling, but I think it could be just something that that makes people want to stay. Do you guys have any plans for maybe kind of developing your own, let's say, game that you would go through Dragon City and maybe like play, have some sort of like for lack of better words, maybe mission or something,
Wow, it's very, very crowded, huh? In Dragon City now.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Can't draw the crowd, let me tell you.
Yeah, great.
Let's talk about this building that we're in right now.
Yeah, I was about to say.
There are many people watching this streaming outside the
Oh,
space.
yeah, it's very cool.
There are many people on there.
Now, these models that I'm looking at right now, what am I seeing here?
I can't believe how real they look.
Yeah, they look super lifelike. It's really awesome.
Wow.
The texturing is really awesome.
And I can say, as an artist, once artists can start selling these, it's such a huge market. It's insane what this opens up.
That's actually been like one of my big thought processes about like just Decentraland in general. Like we haven't touched the 3D art market. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Super Rare just started support for 3D GLB files that should be able to be compatible real soon. So that's, I mean, I think the market is developing in real time. You know, a month from now, we'll be talking about all the different 3D art in Decentraland that people like you guys brought in.
Yeah, I just had finished a conversation with the guys from Bullion X, and I don't know if you guys know that project at all, but it's like a gold. It's a 3D art that's it could be any 3D art really. That's based on a like if you stake the crypto that was backed by gold. And so, you know, you make these like models that are gold. A lot of them are coins to start with now, but you know, into the future, like I was talking to those guys, like, man, if you guys could make wearables, man, we can get the jewelry going. You know what I'm saying? But this is an untapped thing, like just like.
Yo, are you talking about like jewelry gold 3D model backed by gold? No, that could totally work. That was because I collect quite a bit of DGX, right? Like, you know, the one thing Singapore. So I know that would totally. So yeah, no, that would work. Totally.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking the other day, and just like, man, I'm at the end of the conversation, we're talking championship belts. You know what I'm saying?
They're doing the trophy for the Crypto World Cup that we've got.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
They're gonna do the trophy. So whichever team wins is gonna win a gold backed that trophy.
Exactly. And then also, I believe each participant would get some sort of like badge type thing, because no one, you know, you got one team winning a trophy, you know, not like they're gonna split it in 5 pieces, you know.
Right.
It's actually funny. I'm doing a charity cat art show it's over in Crypto Voxels. So different than here, but same kind of metaverse. And I'm having a sculpture made that's the lucky cat. And I'm having Bullion X backed into that as a sculpture that we're auctioning. So I'm trying that as a little experiment to see how that works. I think it's like when you buy a bronze sculpture, you know, you can melt it down and have bronze, but the value of the art then transcends the melt value. And how does that work in this space?
Yeah.
I'm wondering how people can transfer the physical art into NFT. Like if I made a sculpture in physically, how can I transfer it into NFT, like transfer it into GLB, can display it into a metaverse world?
I gotta imagine that you could 3D scan things. I'm not too up on that technology, but I gotta imagine if you really wanted to 3D scan something, or even take like some sort of 3D picture, and then you could easily get that into Blender and start going to work, especially if you have the right 3D artist. So this stuff is, you know, once you get, like, one of the projects I did in the beginning was I was taking 3D models off of Google Maps, and I was just taking, like, I made the Luxor. You know, I just grabbed the whole Luxor and I put it in inside one of my buildings, like here, you know, and it was like kind of choppy. It wasn't the best looking, but it was something that I did it. You know, it looked like the Luxor, and this stuff is, you know, somebody that's way better than me at this stuff can easily kind of go into a way, you know, a more creative direction and make it look a lot better, you know. So all this stuff is very possible. I think that even just these models right here really are a good example of what can be done with 3D models and the representation they can have inside in this world, you know.
Yeah. So actually, we
too, you know, like when, you know, you add another element of art, you know, like thinking that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
sorry. Go ahead. I apologize, bro.
It's okay. Yeah. Thank you. You go ahead. Yeah. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you, like, how do you feel about just, you know, any ideas about what you could like bring to the space as far as because I know your crypto art is like pretty wild, and I know I'd seen this guy Cabo, the guy who made these Bitcoin glasses. Actually, he's working on some shoes that have like animation on them. You know what I mean? And you know, I was looking at your stuff earlier today. You know, there's a lot of room for that. Just as in general, the whole idea of like this, like you can make the animation onto the texture. You know.
Yeah. So actually, this gallery now is not the last design of our, and we have a big plan for this gallery. I mean, this art gallery is very important part of the Dragon Cities plan. So so today we have two artists here, and Coldie and Yura, and we are very honored to maybe we can talk in something about how does like the art can display in the metaverse, and how they just like what do you think about just like the technology, how to influence the art? And so our team also is exploring the relationship between the art and technology, and also the exploring the new market. So today our topic just like is the new market in the art. I think maybe Coldie and Yura can share some opinion about so yeah, because they are professional.
Yura, you wanna kick it off? You wanna go?
No. You go first, man.
All right. I mean, I'll just say, I mean, we both of us came in, I think, at similar times, and back at that point, there was not much of a buying market for crypto art. It was still very early, and I can say in the last 2 years, it's exploded. You know, there are collectors. We can sell worldwide at all hours of the day to collectors that want innovative, like new media art. Like that's a very hard thing for me to sell in my hometown, you know? But now my hometown doesn't matter anymore. I'm a global artist, and I can, you know, I have collectors in Europe and in, you know, all over every continent. There's different collectors, and we're now friends. And that's another thing that this metaverse is bringing together. Like I can be a friend with somebody across the world that buys my art. And that's very powerful.
Yeah.
What is your media to create art? Like you use traditional media or use computer to making art?
Personally, I before crypto art, I make like 3D art with like 3D glasses, things like that. So my art's already kind of meant for a 3D space. So when I got in here, I could make stereoscopic artwork, and people will soon be able to see that in their browser, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Coldie, and you also not only an artist, you're also collecting art of amazing artists, and I think it's great because I only just started also collecting other artists because I'm a big fan of some other people who just started or tokenizing the art on the blockchain, and it really feels great to be collecting some of them. Just like unbelievable like feeling inside of me, like being an artist and a collector and a gallery, creating a gallery and making like lots of stuff. So much stuff going on every day in crypto space. It's unbelievable. It's really growing and evolving, and it's so bright and so many different but like-minded people. I'm really happy to be a part of this community. Great.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with what he's saying. And, you know, just I think it was actually today that Super Rare they announced that $1 million has been earned by artists on Superlit. And that's a milestone. That's a major, major deal. You know, and that's a whole bunch of art. I think there's over, like, I think the token count's above 10,000 right now. So there's been a lot of art sold, and it's only getting started. I see new collectors coming on. Every week there's new faces showing up, and it's really amazing to see this place grow. A year ago, if I sold a piece of art for like 1 ether, that was like a legendary sale. And now a legendary sale, like the best ones are like, they get up to be like 40 or 70 ETH. You know, that's some serious money. And I don't even think that's the end. You know, it's so early that we're seeing this evolve, and places like this that you guys are building are going to usher in so many more people to help the artists. Like, my livelihood is this. You know, this is beautiful to me. Like,
and it touches people around the world, like you guys were talking about. Like, it, you know, I was able to connect with G and with Roy, and we've already spoke a few times now, and you know, we grow rapport. So then, you know, like you're talking about, you become like a friendship with somebody from another part of the whole world, and then it opens up. You can do business now together, and you can do share ideas. Okay, I had this idea. You know, let's build on this idea. I linked with Jesse, and he's in Singapore. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because it has me, since I do interviews and not art, I'm up at wild hours of the day because, you know, I'm trying to keep up. You know, I'm trying to, I talk to Manny all the time. He's in Australia. You know, so this metaverse thing has been able to connect people from all over the world, you know, to the point of like we communicate every day, you know? And I think
one thing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to kind of playing off the points you guys were making before. One thing I think you're going to start seeing more and more is the mainstream art community, kind of the physical art community, recognizing the value of digital art and kind of blockchain solving this scarcity issue for digital art, and start coming into this community. And I think bringing a much more widespread fan base, both to crypto generally and to, you know, it's another instance. I think one of the things that interested me in Decentraland is that it was that the blockchain provided kind of a mechanism for structuring virtual land and a virtual world and creating scarcity and kind of a structure for that. I think that the blockchain has a similar effect and a similar use case for digital art. And one thing I can, you know from a little bit of my own experience is that, you know, for example, my grandfather is a comic book artist. He worked for DC and Marvel for 40 years, but in the last 6 months, they've, you know, conventions have shut down, everything's been gone. And this is how a lot of those traditional artists make their livelihood. So my latest push has been getting my grandfather's art and getting him to do art on the blockchain. And so that's one thing that I'm kind of working on is to get him in. And so, you know, you're going to have people like him who drew, you know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, bringing those types of traditional pieces from, you know, the traditional art community onto the blockchain. And I think that's only going to, you know, really exponentially expand the recognition of crypto art and the blockchain as a solution for virtual art. And I think it could be really beneficial if you start seeing some of these kind of dinosaurs of art coming into this medium, because it is so easy to kind of integrate those types of people if you have the right bridges, right? And I think there's going to be a big market for people who know how to bridge those people and getting them into the platform.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing I wanted to touch on, Idon, is like the like, now you guys have a lot of Ethermons. Like, there's a lot of in the game itself, not in DCL. To me, those all play out like 3D GLB art, essentially. You know,
yeah, for sure.
I'm wondering, first of all, a couple things. I'm wondering how you're gonna integrate that many artistic designs in, because I know it takes a serious amount of like
Cost.
development. Yeah, so saying development cost for that. And do you look at that at some point as like a crypto art in itself?
Oh, definitely. So in terms of Ethermon, we actually use this. So let's give a little bit of background. So our strategy against working on these Mon model is we work with, I guess they're also known as Fakemon artists. So people that makes a very good monster. So what happened is the strategy that Pokemon adopt is they only use internal resources. So they would never, even if you have a great, awesome Mon concept, I guess maybe due to like licensing or other potential issue, they would never use external artists. So for us, we're really embracing them. So all of our Mon come from pretty much 5 or 6 big artists. Like the 3 biggest one for us is Osvia, he also known as Zerudus, Smiley, and also Lewis Brain. So they are like, if you just look up the Mon name, you can actually find it on Google. So we do spend quite a bit of money just getting the license of the 2D model. Then if you were to make it 3D, on average for each model, it costs about $300 to $500 US. And then plus you have to make the anime and then you do all kinds of different things. So that could easily, I would say at minimal, it's like about 500 if it's all in. Then we have 200 models. So if you multiply that up, plus the licensing itself, because we do have the exclusive license for pretty much most of them on, all of them on, so that we can actually commercialize and reuse it. So when we actually make these model, the idea is that we also want to promote these artists. So they are definitely 3D models. So they're essentially 3D artwork, but it's at the same time playable as well, because you can kind of grow them or increase the experience. So I guess, because in a sense, we can really think about kind of having these artwork as both displayable and also they can be playable, and they are collectible because we would never mint more. So their mintage essentially is pretty much fixed. Well, except the ones which haven't been fixed. There are ways to get more, but then it's kind of the rare collection. The rarest ones we have is like 20 mint. And I think of the 20 mint because Ethermon can also evolve. So when they evolve, you no longer have the original one. So you only maybe have 5 of what like the rarest monsters like Barkendo and Ruffsky. There's only probably like 5 or 10 left. So then that, there's a huge demand market on that. So yeah, I think all of this space is very exciting. And we definitely are, very closely working with a lot of these Fakemon artists as well. At the same time, we want to promote them as well. So it's a good thing. So we're definitely, very closely tied with all these artists. And to me, I love Pokemon too. So I think it's great to be able to create like a Pokemon version of it, with blockchain. Yeah, just great. I can't think of any better project to work on.
So, like the 2D versions, right? And those are going to be different from the Decentraland model.
Yeah. So it is the same NFT. So our concept was the idea of, because it kind of defeats the purpose when you're making an NFT, but you're making it differently for different game. So our focus is supporting. So if you have an existing, so even like the new models that we're supporting, whenever you create all the existing ones, all 200 model, we'll start making 3D models. It is the same NFT. So as long as you have it in your wallet, it will show up. So right now there's a few garden meta that's deployed. So if you have a traditional Cobras, then you can now, when you join the Decentraland, you will see your Cobras inside the Decentraland. So just having the same NFT, you will see it in both places. In the future, we'll do other stuff like catching it. Like, for example, we can put a dragon Ethermon, like a flying like Form 2 Ethermon in Dragon City. And if you can actually, be the first 10 people to go there and kind of throw it, what we call it's just a little bit of a leak. But if you're able to catch it, then essentially you can then catch the NFT. Then you will have in your wallet, you have it in 3D, and you will also have it in the 2D game. So it's always just going to be the same NFT across multiple games.
That's actually a question I had for you, because I spoke to Will and Iman about that, and I don't know if they knew if it was going to be actually both the same game and both the same NFTs, especially. At this point, we're confirmed it's definitely the same NFT, and that's kind of the ethos we've been following, which is Ethermon is playable in this game called Tides of Magic. It's like another card game that uses many different NFT, and there's also a few other integration that we're working on. So which means across all other games, it's always going to be the single same Cobras, or in this case, like for example, like Barkin or the rare one. There's only 10 of them. So across all games, it's always going to be those 10. So I think we really
focus on retaining the value of that original model. Because if you think about it, if I have to sell you a Pikachu, for example, right, in the original game, but then I resell you in every single game, then you really lose that collector value. So we really think a lot around, our collector is kind of part of the communities, and that's why we also spend a lot of time working with the community. Yeah, so it's great because other than the central line, I think we also we talked about crypto voxel earlier as we're looking at some project that you can see some about 3D models there as well. But I think the very important part, which I think comes to the whole collectible art thing too, is if you have a super rare that's displayed in the central line, like hopefully they will always say, hey, this model, it's only a single one, no matter if it's in Sonian space, CryptoVox or Sandbox, it's the same one. Then that can I can easily see that bring a lot of value. Especially you can say, hey, this is authenticated by the original artist. I think it would have huge value.
Yeah, definitely in that aspect, like with super rare, because they kind of and the Coldie, you probably could correct me or whatever, but like you have to be kind of like authenticated as an artist to post in super rare, right?
Yeah, that's true. There's an onboarding, and it's not an open registration, so there's a level where you have to show a portfolio and show what you're going to do before they give you access to do it all. So yeah.
I'm thinking how we can see the new media art in the metaverse. Like many people making interactive installation in the physical space, so people pay ticket to see this installation. Like a really famous team called Team Lab, they are making many immersive interactive installation around the world. So I'm thinking how we can bring this into metaverse. Like they are making many projection on this space, and the animation can get information from the visitor. So it will change based on how the visitors move. So I think it is really cool to see that happening into the metaverse. Like if our avatar move, so this movement can interact something on this space. I think it is also cool to see. So how do you think the new media art happening on the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, I saw something of that nature. Like, it's near the Axie build that we had up Fluffy Land, I believe is the name of the area. And there's like some hands, and when you walk into the hands, they kind of do this thing.
Yeah.
It's a 3D art piece. I don't think it really had a purpose, but I see that concept of like the animation kind of is triggered by one thing or another. I had spoke to Jesse and the Billion X guys about one of their coins that could have possibly have animations, because there's a real life artist that does coins, and he does like, I don't know how to explain it, but animated coins, like they have like little features, and he's super specific style kind of artist, but he does really, really cool things, and it's all telling them like we should do something of that nature with your coin. And I think animations inside, like so now you get into another level, like a 3D art piece, GLB type thing, and then it has the animation, and the animation is then triggered by some sort of action from the player. So I think that would be, again, we're talking about next level stuff that probably just isn't really being done right now, because we're not even talking about doing 3D art yet, and these are things that I'd like to see be native to the metaverses, not just our metaverse, but the metaverses, and I also think.
Well, I think kind of putting out that point, if you have a 3D model that is an NFT, right? And let's say you have just an awesome 3D artist who can create Chinese-based content. And I mean, you guys have all this land and all this development, but only limited resources. And then bring in this artist who can 3D model and is working on just an awesome piece. Well, I could see that, connecting that value there, and you guys could feature art or purchase or however that might be for your land, just like I think any other user of Decentraland who's looking for content can. And so I think that, you know, once you have the ability to just simply purchase an NFT rather than, you know, that kind of playing off of the point that that we were making before about kind of how Ethermon should be cross-platform. As soon as a 3D model is in a format that's recognized kind of more generally and is an NFT, that 3D model could be dropped into any platform. And so I think there's going to be a real incentive for artists, not just to create sculptures, but to create structures, to create animated structures. I mean, the sky is really the limit. And then as the metaverse expands, I think there's going to be huge demand for that. And so I wonder, I mean, even for you guys, G and Roy, you know, if you guys see awesome 3D models, like, is that something you would be interested in bringing in, you know, and incorporating into your plans, you know, because I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, sure. We already connect, just like connecting with the Chinese artists. So some of them are already boarding. Yeah, I think it's cool to build a connection between the blockchain and the artists. Yeah. So yeah, for us, the important part is just like education part, because most of the artists, they don't have the, I think, the technology, the education background, so they understand how does it work. So I think I talked to the Yura, and yeah, he said he have a good experience about how to educate people to jump into this this new space. So I think it's cool. So maybe in the future, we will invite just like Coldie and Yura and or even other artists to come to Chinese community to talk about some how to that's like how to make a crypto art. I think it's really cool to doing something like that, because the most exciting moment for me about the Decentraland, because we build a universal community for all of us. Yeah, no matter where you're from. Yeah, we can. I think the art is no border, so we can share some of the beautiful things. Yeah, we can do something together and forget that the massive war. And I think this is the really cool thing. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, Roy, I think it's awesome to see so many people right now in Dragon City, and I know you guys are going to have a Chinese language panel later on. How do we keep it this way? How do we continue to attract members of the community now that we have, you know, a published scene and it's looking awesome? What are your thoughts on keeping the Asian community engaged and bringing more and more in now that you've built this awesome, you know, scene that you can kind of showcase for those people? What are your thoughts on the future?
We have a streaming channel now, so we plan to have maybe every week streaming on YouTube or on the Bilibili, a Chinese. It is a Chinese video streaming platform. So we are planning to making invite different people into. Invite many different people, maybe internationally or Chinese, to hear like what the DCL core team do and talking about different things, streaming to there, and then we are engage people into this platform, like talking about Dragon City, maybe the NFT and maybe blockchain. So this is our plan to keep people engaged in our Dragon City.
Sounds awesome.
All right, guys.
I want to share something about just like the club mentioned about the community building in China. So actually, the community building is very important job for us. I mean, inside our team, and because of my experience in the crypto space, I had long history just like in this space. I think from the 2011. So I build the community, the education, doing education, and bring people together to join the crypto space. So, but even just like several years passed, but I mean the mainstream is still very difficult to understand what is the blockchain technology for them. So, but just like some projects like Decentraland, just like give us maybe is an important example how bring the technology into the mainstream. Because about just like we should maybe something like ignore the technology side, because the mainstream, they don't know about the mathematics, they don't know the cryptographer, and they don't know the computer. But if you told them, hey, there's a very wonderful place and you can visit, it is the 3D place, and also it's the Chinese culture background, and you can just like hanging out with other people from other countries. I think it's good concept for them. So we are doing something like that, just like to ignore the technology side and to bring a Decentraland and like Jurgen City into the mainstream. I hope we can just like we attract more people in China can join, especially for the young people, because in China, you know, of the pandemic and people staying at home, they play in the 10 cents game all the day. So when we show up that, what's Jurgen City? Wow, so cool. So I think this is our opportunity to do something like that. So yeah, community building is a very, very important job for us. Yeah.
Right. I think that's, I mean, Roy, I think that's a general point that I think we've been talking about a little bit about Decentraland more generally, about how do we attract users. And my view has always been that, you know, right now, as we're starting the game, it's very apparent that it's blockchain based, and you need to download the wallet, and you need to have everything, you know, you have to verify transactions and pay gas, and but eventually I think there's going to be, both on the crypto side, you know, better tools for integrating into fiat and other forms of payment, and more I guess allowing the blockchain to be baked in to different aspects of the game and run on the back end, rather than to be so in your face. And I mean, that's always kind of been my vision for where I think Decentraland should go as a platform in order to bring in more mainstream users. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying as well. If someone can just get on, click, and enjoy the experience, enjoy the game, kind of like you do right now as a guest user, they can see, okay, this technology is useful because it gives me ownership rights over digital assets, it gives me ownership rights over land, it allows these things to be real in a sense, but it also isn't so in your face that it's a barrier to adopting the platform. And I would agree with you that would be a really great thing to be able to incorporate into Dragon City, and more generally into Decentraland.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think that getting people together and then, you know, seeing who can work together is going to be a big part of this whole situation. You know, all across the board for everybody involved, because, you know, we had the Moonshot, the soccer tournament today, and I felt like that was a big thing, like where we all kind of just were hanging out. You know, it was like a whole bunch of us, you know, just watching the game, talking, laughing, yelling, and, you know, it was fun, and we were joking, like, you know, you don't have other investments that you watch play soccer. it was like, you know, this idea, like, you know, I was just watching my investment play soccer, but we were having fun. And I think that across the board, like when you create that atmosphere, then it's so easy to go work with somebody because you're like, hey, we're in here having a good time, you know, and then, you know, I have an idea. Let's go work on this idea. Okay, yeah, it's real easy, you know. I think that's how you build the community. You know, you make it like fun, you know.
Hey, just by the way, you guys are talking about that. So we played our game today against OpenSea. So that was kind of fun because Devin and I was like tweeting, like he was like, you know, Ethermon and Boolean X, like I think it was Boolean X. You know, we're playing with you, and then I'm like, yep, Devin, you better be ready. But just as a FYI for anyone who's watching the stream, so there is like free jersey that they're giving out that you can claim for 0 mana. It happens like every day. I think right before each game, like those teams that's playing, you can claim like some free jerseys. This means it was like going out very quickly. So I think they gave each team 20 jerseys and 80 of them you can just claim. So for those, I think for the rest of the week, there's games going on with the rest of the other projects. So I think it's like, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern, there's a game. I think there's another one a little bit earlier. But if you go check it out, you can claim some free DCL wearable.
Not released because they didn't the machines broke. So,
okay.
So tomorrow when they drop the jerseys for the first games, your jerseys, the Ethermon jerseys, and the Boolean X jerseys, and the OpenSea jerseys, all those jerseys will be available tomorrow. So
okay, thanks. I was wondering because I didn't see it today, and like because I have all of them like for my team, so I have 20, but I was giving out to my team. But yeah, for anyone who just attending, that's definitely something because I think a lot of them like decentralized wearable, like they actually go for, you know, they do have retain some value, so it's always cool to change it out.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing is, just so everybody knows, I guess since we're here, it's 10 per wallet. So just so you know. Guys, I don't know if you have any closing remarks. If anybody wants to say anything on the way out, Roy.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys wanted to say anything to say goodbye.
Yeah. So it's very happy to have all of you. And so I think this is only our starting. So I hope we can do just like the second the panel for the J City. Maybe we can talk more about the art. Talk more about the how to get people just like join into the central. Yeah. So yeah, it's really great. You're awesome, Coldie and Yura. Yeah, to have I think to artists to talking about the future of the art. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is only the beginning. You know, and maybe you can do the second one, the third one, and because the total design of the art gallery is not out, but we will give you a wonderful gallery for all the artists. Yeah, and yeah, so because this is what we want to do, just like to build a platform for everyone to jump, and it also is free. Yeah, you don't need to pay anything to join. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the relationships is really good here. So I think we could always expand on them. I know Roy, we kind of committed. We're gonna be talking often. Me and Clark are starting a news network within Decentraland, and we're gonna be able to kind of give people a platform to kind of, you know, be able to speak and have these kind of connections. So we're always available to all of you guys. And I want to thank Coldie and Yura for coming out, and Idon, I apologize.
Thank you. All good.
But yeah, you guys are amazing for coming out and just kind of like showing your whether it's your projects like Idon or like Coldie or Yura, you know, just being here and you know, seeing where the crypto art can take this place, because this place can go very far with crypto art as in general, you know.
Yeah, I just once again, you guys built a really fantastic neighborhood. You guys are building the future, and it's just super exciting to see this at the very beginning. And it's going to change a lot of people's lives, and I think I'm just happy to be a part of it as an artist, and I'm happy to do this anytime you guys want to chat. I think it's really cool.
Thank you. So we are going to have a Chinese version later. So I think we will also translate what they are talking about and record it and then share to you guys and then see what idea can be talked about on the version. Because many more people will join into another version, so they will talk more about NFT and Dragon City too. So it is also exciting too.
It's gonna be good. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I really appreciate all of you guys for everything here and involving us in the first place. I just think that Dragon City's got so much potential, and like again, I'm just really happy to be a part of this whole situation. So, thank you very much for doing this. Thanks, Roy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
G.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite.
Bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Laura. It's very, yeah, it's appreciate that you can join. Yeah, maybe next time we can do, the second panel. I think to just like to share your the experience. Yeah, I think it's really
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally into
Mhm.
sharing. I think blockchain and art is super. It's life changing for artists and collectors and for many other people. I think
Yeah.
it's really the future. And
Yeah.
you guys are building really fantastic world. So I'm really
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
I really
you.
enjoy it, and I wish you all the best of luck and passion to continue making it better and better, and consistently like engaging like more and more people that you'd like
Yeah.
to see.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really looking forward to seeing lots of amazing art in Dragon City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, guys.
So
Bye.
bye,
Thank you.
guys. It's
Bye.
really it's really awesome. Yeah, to have you all you here. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
successful. It's very successful opening ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Congrats. Congratulations
Cool.
with opening, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Have a good day.
See you later.
See you.
Bye.
Mm. Mm. 还有人在吗？
我在。
哦，中文版的几点开始？
中文版的晚上7点，然后你那边是早上7点，你那边
好，那个把它 录起来吗？
我现在已经在录了。想一下。